Welcome to this edition of Hands Off. My name is Red Hackett and I'm your host. Tonight's guest is a friend of mine. I know him very well. His name is Raphael Mercier. I know him as Raf, and I'm just going to jump right into it and start off by saying, welcome. Thanks for coming on and doing this. But let's start off by having you formally introduce yourself, even though I just did your name, but tell us who you are, your business, everything else.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Absolutely.
My name is Raphael Mercier. Again, I go short by Raf, just makes it easier for everybody. And I am the CEO of RafscoachingLLC.
And where is that located?
It's currently located out of Greater Philadelphia, but locally by Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Great. So let me start off and say this. The power of social media is definitely a good term to kind of like of how this came to be. But you posted a tip on Instagram, and I saw that. Could you tell us what that tip was and what did it say? And you can paraphrase if you don't know.
Yeah, the tip is super cool. It's about when you add your child as an authorized user to your credit card. When they are a teenager, by the time they hit 18, they will have a strong credit profile up to 850 credit score.
That's 850 is a good number.
It is.
I'm going to come back to that tip in a minute, but can you just fill us in and talk about your background, education, your employment bio, and when, how, why did you start doing RAF coaching?
Yeah, so a little bit about me. I took a couple courses in business management when I was a teenager, around 18, for business management. At the time, I was in retail platforms with telecommunications, and then also I did some retail with office space there. I started, how I got into RAF's coaching is I started a hair industry company that I was a COO for, and that kind of really got me started in business. I took the time to really structure the business in the financial piece, kind of build some social media platforms, got real familiar with SEOs, and then my job was to structure that company to get after new clients. Once I got really comfortable with that, I was like, hey, what else can I do to get more of me out there and kind of mesh to my personality and character? And that's where we came up with RAF's coaching.
Had you ever done coaching before, or
Yeah.
I'll let you elaborate on that.
Yeah, totally. So when I was a leader in telecommunications, my job was to be that guy and that leader to be able to influence and coach on a consistent basis my employees, work with other retail managers, and then even take stretch assignments with district managers as well. Spend some time with some directors and VPs. So I got really comfortable in that on-the-spot coaching and kind of that stretch assignment, fast-paced environment.
I love that, on-the-spot coaching. Can you talk about, let's expand on that just a little bit. What type of coaching is it that you do?
Yeah, so what I do currently, my coaching is around helping and starting new business owners that are looking to start in business, and then also, if you're currently in business, how to kind of grow your business or your platform or portfolio.
So let's talk about the new business side of things. What is it that you look for, that you, I don't know, if I'm a new business owner or an entrepreneur,
Right.
What is it that you're kind of like, would focus on first versus somebody that is like an existing business?
Yeah, I think when you're first starting out, you're kind of pulled in several different directions. Like, where do I start? What's my next move? Do I start with social media first? Because, that's a big platform, right? So my job is to kind of really break down that business plan, right? So we start with your business plan and your vision. Okay. Once we figure out that piece of your business and your vision to align with that, we can get a structure behind that. Are you set up properly with your organization, LLC or sole proprietorship, or?
Will you help somebody get that?
Oh yeah,
okay.
That's the easiest part. It
is. But but I think some people don't think that it is.
Right. I agree.
You think that, oh well, that's something big, and I don't know. So, what types of clients have you worked with, and Are there any groups that you don't work with?
So Ravs Coaching works with all types of
Okay.
groups. We take on anyone that's interested. So far, our client base has started with those looking to start new businesses so far. Yeah.
Are there any that come to mind that, like, I don't know, I don't want to, have you had a favorite?
Right.
Have you, what type, here, this is a good one. Instead of a favorite, because I don't want to put anybody on the spot and make them feel jilted, but what is your type, like, what kind of person do you like to work with? Because that's important.
That is super important. So I'll tell you, my first client, I was, looking for to start with new business owners. My first client was interested in growing their financial profile with business credit, with personal credit, and then how to kind of invest their money with stock markets and things of that sort. So that kind of threw me off to the first beginning of getting started, but I quickly was able to adapt to their interests.
And that goes nicely into when I said, what kind of clients do you like to work with? But what misconceptions do you think that people have about hiring a coach or getting coaching? Because there are people that have a preconceived notion.
Correct.
And I think that it's important to talk about that.
Right? Yeah, I think when you think of the coach, you think of Coach Boom from Remember the Titans, right?
I do.
You got the whistle. And then you think of Eric Thomas, you think of Tony Robinson. So it's,
So I was going to say, Tony Robbins was the one that I was thinking of. Like, somebody hears that and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to be your business coach.
Right.
Or I'm going to mentor you to get, a successful business or whatever. They think that you're going to be jumping up and down screaming. You're going to ask them to run over coals. They also think that they don't need that. But I'll let you fill in the gap because I'm sure that you hear it because, you're out there selling yourself. You hear no more than you hear yes.
Correct.
So tell me the no's.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is with anyone that's looking to start is they have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Getting them to start first into their vision and then their business plan is the first step.
Okay.
Us as coaches, we're just going to run with your vision and be your support. If your coach isn't your support, he's not doing you. You need to find a new coach immediately. So,
Sure.
And I looked at, coaches and consultants and kind of that black and white programs that they had and that spiel, I would say. And I was like, I'm going to do it totally different. My job is to come in and support you, make you feel comfortable, and let's work together to your vision.
I totally agree with you. And I think that it has to be their vision and not yours.
Correct.
Not your vision for them, but what is their vision. But I think that from what I've seen, just in terms of working with people, and I know I'll go a little bit deeper in that later on, but just that, what do you do with the person that is not 100% in, or they struggle with being open to coaching, or they have an idea that is the only way that they see it, and you're trying to chip away at that? Because that to me, I think, is a misconception.
Yeah, totally. It definitely is, and it could be a struggle for both sides, right? But I think you got to go back to their vision, right, and the reasons of why they started, and align that with their focus, right? So, when you have those conversations with your client or your client, that you want to be able to kind of go back into that vision and say, hey, this is what we're focusing on. This is how we get the steps there. We're open to new ideas and different approaches, but tell me why you feel like that's going to be important in your journey.
Yeah. Do you have individuals that are maybe doing a career change and looking for that?
Yeah, definitely. I think with the pandemic, it's definitely opened up a lot of
My
eyes. To see that, small businesses or entrepreneurship is definitely a great way to invest in yourself and kind of grow in the direction that you see yourself in.
So that's the reason why I went down this direction to ask this question, is because there's a lot of people that found through the pandemic that they had a talent, they had an interest, maybe they even had I don't know, a hobby.
Right.
And it started. True. I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's a good story for you to tell that individual, because now I know that some people are like, you know what, I'm going for it.
Right. Right.
This would be the time period for you, obviously, to walk them through the process, provided that there isn't that misconception.
Right.
And I think that it's amazing how sometimes people think that their idea is the only way.
Right.
And that's where I feel like there might be a barrier. And I like what you said, that you revert back and you go to why did they set themselves up to do this.
Right.
But what's another challenge that you often face in dealing with people, like whether it is a misconception or whether it's just that, you know, they just don't understand the full scope, or they thought it was going to be easier than what it is?
Yeah, I think everyone wants to be successful overnight, right? So that's a big challenge, you know, to kind of have that conversation, that reality of, yeah, you want to be a fast track and you have this business plan that you want to be to this time frame in your business, but just be ready that it may take longer than what you're projecting. Right.
Is it safe to say that it's better for them to not necessarily say, okay, this is the date for the finish line, but these are the stages along through the process?
So I'll give a personal example, right?
Yeah.
When I started Rafs Coaching, I had strict deadlines for myself. And I was like, I want to do merch at this time. I want to make sure my platform looks like this. And I want to be out to my audience right away. And the turnaround time actually came a little bit quicker than I thought. So it kind of goes to, if you put the work in and you stay focused on your goals, and again, everything is not going to be perfect. You may struggle with deals, you may struggle with vendors, you may struggle with financing, but as long as you stay focused on the path that you want to do and get there by that deadline, you can make it happen, for sure.
It's funny you said that about the patience thing. Well, first of all, I say it all the time on the show that is my Achilles heel. I openly admit it. And it's the patience not in working or helping somebody, it's the patience of the timeline.
Right. Yeah.
We all want to become a big corporation like overnight.
Right.
And often what you're seeing on TV, because I feel like that sets the tone.
Right, it does.
Makes people think that that's what's going to happen to them.
Right.
And, but I know this is not anywhere on any of my questions, but I'm thinking, like, I know when I was starting our foundation and the things that we do, and I'm sure that you went through this, even more now, there are so many options for people to put their stuff out there.
Yeah.
More now than ever.
Right.
You've got Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok, right?
See?
Right.
And I know for us, like, we started with Facebook first. We went the social media route first while the website was being created.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I know sometimes it's also flipped. Some people have a website and they don't have any social media presence.
Right.
Do you have a preference, or like if you're giving somebody a tip, or is it just a matter of, you know, put yourself out there, but make sure that you're ready to serve?
Yeah, I think there's not a wrong or right time versus social media platform or website, right? I think it comes down to, are you ready to talk to your audience and provide real-time solutions and service and products?
What I want to do is I want to take a break, and then when we come back, what I want to do is I want to kind of dive in and talk about how that relates to the flavor and the tone of the show.
Okay.
I'm also going to revert back to your tip, because I said I'll come back to that. But it's kind of cool, and I love the fact that you're here, and I'm wondering if people right now are watching this and they're saying, gosh, where are we going with this? So we'll be right back.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Boardwalks built for fun. Legendary rock and roll clubs.
This is how we do it. Hip hip hop.
Casinos by the ocean.
Hip hip hop.
Now that's New Jersey. 130 miles of beautiful beaches. Solid rock. And everything in between.
Look in the window.
Now that's New Jersey.
Welcome back to Hands Off. I am here with the CEO of Raf's Coaching, and I don't even want to say your full name because I just think that Raf is cool, and people remember that. So before we went to break, I said that I wanted to revert back to the tip because that is really what prompted this conversation. Mm-hmm. First, let's talk about why you posted that particular tip. Who were you looking to hit? What were you looking to gain? Because I really loved it, so I'll let you take it.
Yeah, when I did the tip, it definitely meant something to me. So I'll start with that. When I was 18, I didn't have any idea about credit, and I knew you needed credit to get things. Like I went to go get my first car, had some struggle doing that. Went to get my first apartment, struggled with that. So when I read that tip, I was like, and then a lot of people, when you add your children as an authorized user, it can gain their credit profile up to a high credit score of 850, and not even to get lost in the number, but just a high credit score, right? And a lot of people think it's a myth. Like, is that a real thing? Does it happen? How long you have to do it? But if you look into it, it is an actual real thing. And I was like, oh, that must be nice, right?
Super nice.
But I'll give you a little bit of backstory, not to be so long with it. But when I was 18, I got a Capital One card. They approved me for I think back then it was like $1,000 or something. I swipe. I did make the payments on time, which is great. So they advanced me. They said, hey, we want to put you at $6,000 or $7,000. At the young 18, 19-year-old Raf, I said, no way, I'm going to spend it all. So I actually declined the offer, and that hurt my credit profile. So after I swiped and paid it off, I said, I'm just going to pay everything off with my credit card and close my account. So I closed my account, and it hurt my credit report. I shot right down. I said, what am I doing wrong? I don't understand. So I called my friend. I said, hey, I just paid off my Capital One. I closed my card. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you should never close your account. Keep it open, even if it's at a high positive balance. I was like, oh, man, I wish I would have known that, right? So when I read that and I posted that tip, I said, this is a great way for for children to have a stronger profile coming out the gate and be really to get a jump start, but also really kind of start those conversations between a parent and a child about finances, because we know it's not being taught in all the states, but about 17 states a student can choose if they want to take a personal finance class, but they're not choosing that, unfortunately. They're choosing some other majors or topics. So it's a great way to, one, teach responsibility, but really open up that conversation between the parents and the households of why credit is important, and then really set them up for success.
So I loved it, number one. Number two, I wanted to ask, can the reverse happen where it would hurt their credit if mom or dad's credit is not good.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
the con,
So
right?
that's a good tip. Like,
so
but
when you, as a parent, when you decide to add your children onto your credit card, you're responsible for both ends, right? You're really they're shadowing your credit profile of your finances, how you're spending money. So if the payments aren't on time and you don't, and you're leaving accounts, or vice versa, if you allow them to spend, they become responsible. So it's kind of like a partnership type of credit history process. So you got to be careful with that as well.
And it's a great tip in regards to, I don't think that we have this conversation enough.
Right.
Even if it's being taught in school, it's not happening at home. Because there's a lot of moving parts in today's homes. This one's going in this direction, this one's going in that direction. So I think it's important. So now let me tie it all together in regards to this show, because we have guests that come on here that have come out of abusive situations. Sometimes it can be a domestic violence situation. And when I saw that tip, I thought to myself, okay, well, I always use the structure of the husband and wife, that there was a domestic violence situation. She finally escapes out of the home. She's fine. She's out on her own, but she may not have a resume. She may not have a bank account. She may not have any credit. These are the type of individuals that you could also help as well too.
Correct.
And I just wanted to get your perspective of why you see that as important, how that connects, how do you connect with that?
Right. Yeah, I totally connect with it because I understand what it's like to be in a struggling situation. It's an uncomfortable situation. We've all been dealt with situations, in the past or currently, that we need someone to kind of have that conversation with, right? For myself, even to this day, I have a mentor. Anytime something happens in my life that deals with just anything, finance, at home, pick up the phone, I call that guy, right? And we all need that person, right? And if we can all continue to open these doors for individuals that need some more support, that's what we should be doing. For sure.
And I think that I think about this, that it's a very good possibility that they were in a job, and they definitely still have skills,
right?
But life and technology has advanced itself,
right?
But they would still be able to tackle the job if they just knew what the new skills were.
Correct.
And I think that's where where you could come into, I don't know, what happens when you hear that kind of a statement? Because to me, I get that feeling in my chest when I think about that person that, does come out of an abusive situation, or, let me just fill you in on something with this, is that there are individuals that before they come out of whatever their situation is, whether it's intentional or not, they sometimes create a path of destruction.
Right.
They either have quit college, quit school, were forced out of it.
Right.
Maybe they had bad credit. Maybe they had an addiction problem. And now they come out of it, but man, there is like a lot of carnage that is running behind them. And some of them have to start off fresh, either by their own hand or just by getting out of there. That's why when I saw that post, because you have somebody that, now I'm not going to say that their parents are going to throw them on their thing, but they could be coming out with either zero credit or really bad.
Right.
And that's why I thought, let's have you come in.
Thank you. Thank you.
I see the work that you do, and I just thought that it would be really cool to talk about what coaching can do for an individual. It's not just career.
Right.
There's life skills. There's, can you jump on whatever I
totally understand. I think there's a lot to factor into it, right? But if you have someone that's just looking to get started in some type of direction, you need that coach or that mentor or that that person they can really go to. And sometimes it may have to be outside the family or friend piece. You may have to sit down and talk to someone that you never even met before. So it kind of feels like a therapy session, but at the same time, there's a desired result at the end of it.
Well, so I'm so going to jump on that because I could not agree with you more, and here's the reason why, is that you are a neutral party to the family unit, and when you have somebody that has had a path of,
Right.
self-destruction because they were coping,
Right.
what you can run into is the family member that's trying to help them out. It starts off, and then the family member doesn't like what the individual,
Right.
and then it's just like, you always screw it up. This is why we're here. This is why we're at where we're at.
Right.
And as a third party person coming in, that you're neutral,
Right.
And you are kind of represent, like when I'm there to advocate for somebody, I'm advocating for them. I'm not advocating for the family. I'm not advocating to please the spouse or the mom or the dad.
Right.
It's for that
That's for
person.
that person,
And that's
right.
what you're going to end up doing.
Yeah.
And does that, I feel like it goes right in line. That's why I had to have you come on this.
Yeah, no, thank you for having it, and definitely it does really go in line with, what we're looking to accomplish.
I hear this all the time. I say it all the time. I've seen it. Individuals who just can't get out of their own way from
Right.
success.
Right.
What barriers do you see that relate to that statement? Because some people
Right.
don't even know what that means. And
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, so I think swallowing success can be, challenging, right? I think as everyone views their success differently, rather it be money, rather it be family, rather it be happiness, rather it be, cooking, things of that sort, right? But it's how you gauge it and what's more important to you at the end of the day. What is your definition of success? And are your goals and your goals, and I would also say, your relationships and then your behaviors, are they in line with your
that's good.
definition of
so
success?
good. That's so good.
That's the goal right there. So
Yes, and you're right, because, sometimes people don't realize it. It's not a criticism, but who you're hanging out with should mirror
right.
the path that you're looking to go, because boy, it's really easy to be swayed,
Right, yeah.
And you're a person of one, and you're very good at what you do, but you're not a magician,
Right,
And
right.
I really fall back to that whole thing that you're a person of one, because if that person has 10 friends and
Right.
they're all counter to what you're saying,
Right.
it's never going to work.
Yep.
And you said that, and man, every hair went up, and I was like, ding, it's crazy. So, what other tips would you want to give to people that were watching?
Yeah, so I have two, if you don't mind.
No,
The first one kind of goes back to the topic, right?
Okay.
So if you have a credit profile and you're looking to accomplish buying a house or getting your first car or getting a newer car, whatever your financing goals is, I call it a credit oil change. So a credit report oil change. What does that mean? What is it?
I'm liking it, though.
On your report, if you notice, when you pull it, sometimes your payment history is on a lag of 3 to 4 months. And it shouldn't be. Reporting can take 30 to 45 days to truly reflect the current month. But I pulled mine like soft pulls a billion times, and I've always noticed the lag. So on your report, you can do a dispute option for your payment history. So you click on the dispute option, and you're going to list it under payment history or status is incorrect.
Okay.
That will force the bureaus to pull your report and update it to the current month.
Nice.
So that'll take anywhere between like 10 to 20 days.
Okay.
But at least your next report will have your current payment history, which will then impact your credit report. Yeah. So
number two?
And number two is whatever you do, just make it happen.
Oh, well, I mean, I saw that when we started the show, and I saw the make it happen.
Yeah.
So we're coming at the end. I want to make sure that we give it the time period. So somebody who wants to get in touch with you, what is the best way? And
the best way you can contact me, you can put us on Instagram, RafscoachingLLC, or you can type us right in Google, RafscoachingLLC, and all our contact information will pop up, and all social media platforms.
I love that.
Thank you.
You know, I love what you're doing.
Thank
I
you.
love watching it on social media, but I really thoroughly enjoy having you come in here and do this personal conversation because it really is, your passion shines through
Thank you.
in
Thank
this.
you.
And that's what I hope that people will see when they bring
Awesome.
you, you know, that they take it beyond this level
Yeah.
and get in front of you.
No,
So,
thanks for having me so
absolutely.
much. I appreciate it. Thank you to RVN.
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
it. It's been a great time.
100%. So make sure, you know, if you're looking for some sort of coaching, please reach out to him. And that is our show. And just as we always say, help is out there. So this is one of them. Thanks so much.